Hello, hello, 1, 2, 3, my FPS is dropping, that means that I'm recording. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Frosty, also known as Storm, on Play Star Battle channel, and today we're doing ability analysis, second episode of ability analysis. Today we're going to be focusing on support ships, that is Arbiter, played by Grand Admiral in this scenario, and Raven, played by Calypso in this scenario. So two abilities we're going to be focusing on today are very important. Forcefield and point defense drone. Now, before we start, I want to only point out that this is the game from European Star Battle Tournament number 3. The teams are not important, it's Topsy and something, it doesn't really matter. What matters is ship compositions. Arbiter and Raven in different teams, and I checked it already. We are gonna get force fields and point defense drones. It's all fine, it's all okay. It took me a while to find a replay like this. So let's go. First things first, force fields for Arbiter and point defense drones for Raven. Now, what I want to say is that they are pretty similar in the role they play, but they are vastly different in several matters. So let's start with descriptions. Now, description of force field ability creates a barrier that stops enemy missiles, lasts 15 seconds. That's fairly simple. Lasts 15 seconds. It's like you're gonna see force fields. Point defense drone uses a laser to shoot down enemy missiles. Cannot target special attacks. Times out after 45 seconds. Each shot uses 2 energy. So descriptions are kind of telling the same story. They are used for the same thing, but many differences. First of all, let's start with energy use. Now, to use a PDD, you're gonna see it. I'm even gonna, in the description. Hopefully it will be in English, not in Polish again. So, okay, let's do it. Poof, there we go. Point defense drone uses a laser to shoot down enemy missiles, blah blah blah. Consumes 2 energy, not uses. Okay, anyway, it costs 200 minerals, which is quite a lot. I mean, it's around the cost of a lockdown. Lockdown costs 225 last episode of ability analysis. It's a bit lower than feedback, but you need to stay away from those 2 abilities if you want to use point defense drones. 200 minerals, it's quite a bit. He's gonna get it. Oh, he's gonna get it, yeah. As you can see, it uses 125 energy. Point defense drone. It's quite a lot, actually. But considering the range of point defense drones, it's a fairly fairly fair cost, if I can put it this way. Now this Arbiter, let's see. Forcefield, it's Polish, but the description is in English, luckily. Creates a barrier that stops enemy missiles, lasts 15 seconds. That's very simple. It costs only 50 energy. Now, why? What's the point of having such difference between those two? Well, first of all, force fields are placed only in one spot, so you can maneuver around them. Meanwhile, PDDs, as you're going to see in this game, when you deploy a PDD, it shoots almost every missile, every laser shot around it in a pretty big radius usually. So the thing I want to say is that you need like 3 force fields, maybe 2, to really effectively try to cover someone if you are on the move. Not when you are holding positions, but if you are on the move, to prevent enemies from trying to flank him and stuff like this, to get around the force fields and still launch some missiles. Now when it comes to PDD, you just stay in the PDD range, and you are protected anyway. So flanking is irrelevant then. Both spells have absolutely no charge time and no cooldown time. What does it mean? Well, no charge time. Let me pause it. Charge time. What is a charge time? Well, if you launch a plasma barrage as a carrier, or a vortex, or Yamato as a battle cruiser, or bioplasmic discharge using a Leviathan, it's all the same. The mukes, the spells, they have charge time. It means that you click where you want the spell to be, and then it has to charge, for example, 2-3 seconds, and then it launches. You can get energy denied in that time, which will mean that you won't launch your spell and stuff like this. So this is charge time. PDDs, no PDDs. PDDs, no force fields have charge time. So that is very good, I guess, because you just launch them whenever you want them to be, and you just have to watch not to get energy denied yourself, but it won't stop you from launching PDDs and force fields whenever you have energy to do it. No cooldown time, so you can just spam them. You have 10,000 energy, which is impossible, but imagine you had 10,000 energy. You can spam PDDs and force fields all the time, if you won't get energy denied, of course. But you can just spam them all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the time. No cooldown, which means that you can cast them instantly all the time. So let's just having that clear, let's move onwards. Now, mineral cost. As you probably noticed, Forcefield is 175 minerals compared to PDD 200. So that means that that's the first PDD. Okay, let's see. This is the range of this PDD. Let's get closer. This is the range of this PDD. Now, as you can see, it launches a laser that shoots down enemy projectiles. Those missiles that were here are gone. Another one will be gone too. Poof, it's gone. Okay, each shot uses 2 energy from here, so it's around 100 shots. It can stop 100 shots and it lasts for 45 seconds. So it's a basic PDD. Now there's one upgrade for the PDD that can make it last 90 seconds. It's durable materials for Raven. I don't remember the cost. It's not about the cost of it. The thing is, if you get it, you can set, for example, walls of PDDs. The PDD forest term, when you have a lot of PDDs and they don't time out, you can spam those PDDs here, then try to push them, but when you'll be coming back, you can counter them here again, because those PDDs won't time out, and you'll have like 45 more seconds on them, because, well, if you get durable materials, you get 90 seconds on PDDs. So 45 seconds basic. Each shot uses 2 energy. So this is kind of tricky, because well, if you use it, it can stop only a concrete amount of shots. Meanwhile, force field, it lasts 15 seconds, but, well, it actually stops everything. Like, there you go, there's a force field. I don't know if those force fields will be used now. Let's see. No, not really. But as you can see, force field, it's got a way smaller radius. Like PDD was covering like this, everything, but force field is here. So now that's the difference, and that's the reason for cost difference for energy use. 50, you use two force fields, you are nicely covered for 15 seconds, which usually, well, if you are getting shot at and you use PDD, 15 seconds is around the time that the PDD depletes, so 45 seconds doesn't matter too much. So 15 seconds here and 15 seconds here, two force fields, And they are just doing a nice job. Let's see. Poof, everything stopped. Lasers, missiles, as you could see here quite clearly. Now, I was talking about durable materials, so I have to talk about Arbiter's ability, Hydrogen Core. Again, it's not important how much it costs or stuff like this. Hydrogen Core makes you regen energy 2 times as fast when you are not in combat. So if you're not taking damage, I don't think if it works if you are launching your missiles and lasers. Probably yes, but if not in combat, it makes you regen your energy twice as fast. Now, what's the difference? Well, using point defense drones with 90-second timeout time, you know, it's kind of tricky again, because if your opponent's deplete its energy, it's pretty useless. Even after, you know, 20 seconds, another 70 seconds, it's pretty useless because it's got no energy. Meanwhile, force fields, if you have double energy regeneration, you can spam them and they still stop enemy projectiles. So this is the edge that force fields have over point defense drones. However, looking at this the other way around, point defense drones have way more range and they are way better at protecting you than force fields, because you can as you can see, there's a force field here. Okay, let's use this situation. Now, JFL speed bump, he can take a clear shot at through ladder, even though the force field is here. That's pretty obvious because he's to the side. So if he would be here like this Raven, he can just go all the way to the side here, dodge the force field, and still launch his missiles. Meanwhile, this carrier, the enormous C for example, if you are playing like this, if you want to launch some shots at caboose in this scenario, you can't. You simply can't unless the PDD will run out of energy. As long as he stays in the radius of PDD, which is those white marks. And one more thing, ladies and gentlemen. Both of those abilities do not stop special attacks, so it doesn't stop Yamato. Neither of those stop Yamato, Plasma Barrage, Vortex, whatever. It just does not. Second thing, they don't stop Guardian missiles. You know, Guardian missiles. Maybe I can pause it. There you go. This is a Guardian missile. This is this green thing. I don't want to know where it launches it from, but you know. And force fields don't stop them. PDDs don't stop them. So it's fairly even. And last thing, tentacles, because tentacles are not considered lasers. You know, you just spread your arms and legs, and maybe that's not the best thing to say, but you know, you get the idea about the tentacles. I'm not gonna talk too much about this. So that's basically it. So the only ships that can... Oh, and actually one more thing. Destroyer, there's no destroyer in this game, but destroyer siege mode, so Gauss cannon and Gatling guns, which are the weapons that are used instead of missiles for a destroyer. These are two attacks that go through PDDs and force fields too. So if you have a destroyer, you are in a good position because they can't really stop you. You can roll them if you have armor. So pros and cons, they are fairly costly, both of them. Well, 175, 200 minerals. It's quite a bit of money. A little bit less than getting a lockdown and the feedback. as mentioned in the last ability analysis, but it's definitely a must for a support ship, especially if your enemies can go missile heavy and have a lot of missile boats. Missile boats are those ships, battle cruisers and carriers. They are considered main missile boats. Guardians can be missile boats too if they get acid spore upgrades, but you can't stop it. So if you get those ships as missile boats, like battle cruisers or carriers, you definitely need to get PDD or Forcefield if you have a support ship. If you thought of it before the game started, you get a support ship, then you can get Forcefields. You should get Forcefields and you should get PDDs. The problem is that both both support ships, like always, they are very fragile, so they need to stay back, not only because they have only 6,000 HP to shields, but also because of energy denial. There we go. I wanted energy denial, there it is. Raven getting locked down. You can't place PDDs, your energy is getting drained. That's a catastrophe. That's absolutely bad. You don't want to be in this kind of situation. That's why you need to stick behind or to the side. Try not to get energy denied. I mean, Raven has EMP, but it's a different story. But you don't want to get energy denied as a support ship. That's why you have carriers and battle cruisers and other ships. Energy denial, because they will protect you, they will drain opposing team's energy, and it not only means that they won't be able to use nukes and other spells, but it also means that a Raven or an Arbiter can feel safer, because they won't only look for him, but they will focus on those 3 ships, for example. So they won't get energy denied themselves. And then Raven, if it gets in the front row, then that's what happens. And that's exactly what happens to an Arbiter when it gets to the front row too. So ladies and gentlemen, final question. Do I have to get it when I'm playing? Yes, get it. It's a must. But keep in mind that both of those abilities stop only certain types of missiles, and keep in mind that they are very different from each other, serving the same purpose, but they are very different from each other. Also, they don't stop broodlings, but I think that's fairly obvious. Oh, there you go, PDD. Luckily he's got a PDD here, but he got energy denied again. That's not a very good play by Calypso. But ladies and gentlemen, do I have to get it? Yes. How do I use it? Well, that's how do I use it. Well, how do I use it? I missed one point. How do I use it? Well, if I get a PDD, I want to place it so it protects someone. I don't want to place it behind them, because if they want to advance, they can't, because they get out of PDD range. So imagine this situation. Imagine a Raven is here. Where do I want to put my PDD? Well, I want to put it exactly here, slightly to the front of those ships. Well, their task is to acknowledge that there's a PDD and to move forward. That's how it's played. And then you protect PDD, and PDD protects you. You protect PDD because they won't shoot it with their lasers, and PDD protects you because they won't shoot you, because PDD will protect you. That's a very simple concept, and you're able to advance, because first PDD is here, you advance here in front of it, then another PDD is in front of you, and that's how you do it. And you have to be careful not to get energy denied, as I've pointed out many times throughout this analysis. Don't get energy denied. Now, how do I set up my force fields? Well, there are 2 ways of doing this. You can, well, 3 actually. You can get a wall between you and the opponent, somewhere in the middle. And it's okay if you have enough energy. If you have a bit less energy, excuse me, and you can't afford to make a wall, you just pick a ship that is gonna get shot. And now you have two options. You can either place it here, for example, this and this ship. Okay, imagine that it's not here. Those two ships. You place it in front of your ship, your team's ship, so it will block all the missiles. You can't really maneuver then, but you know, it's a bit better to place it in front of your ship. But if you want to, you can place it in front of enemy ship. But then, you know, he can maneuver around fairly easily. It's way harder to maneuver for him around if you place it here, because he's got to go around this to this place if he wants to launch some missiles at him when the Forcefield is here. Now if you launch it here, then he just goes to this position. It's like, well, this is the difference. So it's like 2-3 seconds of a game when he can't launch another volley of missiles. If he's advancing, of course. If he's not, well, then he's got to maneuver around. But you know, you get the idea. This is where you want to place them. This is how it works. Remember that it doesn't stop broodlings. It doesn't stop special attacks. It never stops Guardian missiles. It never stops. Well, actually, PDDs and Forcefields stop Wraiths from shooting you, but they don't stop interceptors nor mutalisks, I believe. So they stop a lot of things, but they just don't work against certain builds like Guardians. Well, Guardians are the best counter to the PDDs and Forcefields because of their acid spores and broodlings. So two things that they can go for and get away with it and still damage you even though you have Forcefields or PDDs. So ladies and gentlemen, is it worth getting it? Yes, it is worth getting it. Surely get it. But be careful not to get energy denied. And that's basically it. Very similar abilities, but if you are a support ship, having them is a must. It's a must! Well, there's one situation when you don't want to get point defense drones or Forcefields. Imagine enemy team has 2 destroyers, 2 Guardians and 2 Leviathans, for example. Guardians have missiles and broodlings. Destroyers have Gatling guns and what is it called? Ghost cannons if they go for siege mode. And Leviathans have their tentacles. So while you stop, for example, Leviathan's missiles, they surely won't go for it. So you basically don't stop any attacks with your Forcefields, and you just don't stop any attacks with your point defense drones, which is pointless, and then you have to look for something else to get. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Frosty coming to you from a little speaker. I hope you understood quite a lot of this. I didn't understand anything. Hopefully that will help you to improve your gameplay, or just to know those abilities a little bit better. See you next time. Have a good one. Bye.